Hi everyone, this is your final video for the week. This does an overview of narrative nonfiction and what that is and what that looks like. This will help get us set up for the literacy narrative that you will be beginning next week. Anyhow, let's get started. So narrative nonfiction, also known as creative nonfiction, blends literary elements commonly found in fictional narratives and reflective nonfiction. The genre typically describes factual, real-life happenings in a vivid and engaging way that's typically found in narrative. Um, it blends elements such as plot, pacing, and point of view. So imagine any of those fiction stories you read that are with the really flowery, colorful language. That is narrative nonfiction. You are offering a narrative, and it's got I don't know if I would call it an upside, but it is nonfiction. Like it's stuff that really happened. So you want to be accurate. First and foremost, writers of narrative nonfiction base their stories on real events, real life stories. Um, Although it typically reflects on personal experience, the writer has to accurately convey the people, places, and events that occur within the narrative, unless they're specifically setting out to make something fictional. Um, but in this instance, we are leaning more towards nonfiction, our own life experience. It includes one of the components of this is the setting. That is the where and when the story is taking place. Think about the immediate surroundings of the characters, like props in a scene. You might have trees and grass, food, furniture. Are you inside a house or a car? You've got the time of day, morning, afternoon, night. It could be dusk. It could be dawn. It could be some random golden hour of the day. There's the weather. It could be cloudy, sunny, windy, snowy, rainy. The time of year or the season. Is it late fall? Is it early winter? Is it midsummer? Think about the historical period. For many of us, it will be the last 20, 30 years. Um, the geographical location, like the state you're in, um, Kentucky, New York, the topography. Is it mountainous? Is it a plain? Um, think about all of those little things when you are unpacking the setting of your narrative nonfiction. The depth of detail that you provide and the correctness of those details significantly impact the audience's experience of the realism, and it's going to influence their suspension of disbelief. And details are important, and they are your friend. So be detailed. Think, show, not tell. You're not telling me you went to um, the store in Richmond at Walmart. You're not telling me that, or Berea. You are showing me that. Um, it was a sunny afternoon, and I drove through the parking lot at Walmart. It was packed. There were people everywhere. Um, think about all of those little details. Show, don't tell. For example, you can summarize, which would be like my sister and I stepped into the old farm store walking past the tire clerk towards some chickens. Or you could take it up a notch and set up an entire scene. Stepping into the store, I immediately noticed the smell of old barley. The air conditioner hummed loudly, a song of too many years spent on maximum cool. My sister rubbed her hands, shivering as she glanced at the clerk standing with his two gnarled hands supporting him on the counter, his brow furrowed as he double-checked his inventory list. My sister nodded to the man as we stepped up the worn stairway leading into the store, walking past the wooden table and ancient cash register, and into aisles of canned goods and dusty farm equipment, etc. You want to show what's going on. Not just summarize, but actually engage the reader with all of those little concrete details that you are surrounded by as you experienced what you are drawing from in your memory. Narrative nonfiction will, of course, set out the plot of your narrative. You start with the element of exposition. You're giving the beginning details. You have the rising action, the climax of the story where everything comes to a head. You have your falling action, and then that leads into your resolution where you have that little ending to the story. The bow is tied, there's a cherry on top. This narrative structure allows the writer to bring cohesion and resolution to real life events that may not have been so clearly defined. So this is all of these little things are going to be applicable to your literacy narrative, which you will be starting in the coming weeks. You will be engaging with a story of yours and unpacking an experience with literacy. That could be writing, reading, or communicating. It doesn't have to be your English teacher in high school, but it totally can, because I once wrote a literacy narrative talking about one of my high school English teachers. Just an experience. It could be a sports experience where you learned how to communicate with people in a different way, or a job that you've had where you were pushed outside of your comfort zone and you learned how to communicate effectively. It could be a video game, or maybe you do tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and you learned how to communicate more effectively through that. It could be video games. Like I said, you could have made friends playing Fallout 76 or Call of Duty or Halo, any of those things. But we'll get to that when it is assigned. So I hope you guys are having an excellent first week, and I will talk to you all soon.